Okay, on this one I actually have a graph. And the reason I do is because when they give you a problem like this on XYZ, they're going to have you pick from graphs. And the difference between this one and the previous problem is this. 12 isn't a perfect square, so I can write it as a perfect square by writing it as a square root. And that means that the major axis, because the square root of 12 is definitely bigger than 1, is going to have a decimal number. So square root of 12 is approximately 3.464, and we're going to round that to 3.5 for graphing purposes. So my major axis is the x-axis, so I'm going to graph it about positive 3.5 and negative 3.5, and the y is my minor axis, and that's positive and negative 1. So there's my ellipse. Now, they'll have it the other way. They'll have just about every combination of error you can have, but make sure you pick the right one. Just pick up your calculator and calculate that square root. All right, so now we're starting to get into graphing ellipses that are not on the vertex. I don't know if I explained it correctly, or for example 1, but when you don't have any plus minus with the x squared or the y squared, that means that you can assume that the center of your ellipse is on the origin. Oh, and page 753, I did finally get the XYZ site to work. So, you know, this is my reference for working through this. And then in another page or two, they'll have the same table for the ellipses that move off the XY axis. Now notice that they're using H and K, and that's kind of nice because that's what we've been using since Algebra 2 for transformations left, right, and up, down. Okay, back to the notes. Okay, graph the function, show on quiz platform. All I'm going to do is write this in standard form. So this is x plus 1 squared over 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared over 2 squared. Okay, so that means that my major axis is the x-axis. We're going to go between plus and minus 4, but it gets more complicated because the center is moved left 1. So that's that transformation. And also, write the number. Also, it goes up 3. And it's taken me a little bit to get used to this, where the y transformation, because it's in parentheses, we also have to switch the sign. So we're going left 1, up 3, and oops, wrong place. And if I'm going to graph this, all right, first of all, I just want to show you how the graphing ellipse tool works. The center of my ellipse, you're going to start with that point. So it was left 1 and up 3. So the center of my ellipse is going to be there. Then what I have to do is I have to move to a corner of the ellipse. So my x-axis is the major axis, and it's going to be 4 away from the center. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And also 2 up. And I did not grab the ellipse tool. Let's try that again. -1, positive 3. And my center is going to be left, right 4, and up 2. So click on that corner, and there your ellipse gets graphed. And from there, I can tell what the coordinates are of each vertex. Okay. On these, okay, what we're doing here is we're doing a little bit of solving, and I'm saying graph the function, but what they'll do on the quiz is they'll have you pick from several functions. So we need to do some solving steps to get it in standard form. And notice this is going to be, because we have x squared and y squared and no plus or minus in that squaring, this will these ellipses will be centered on the origin. So what we have to do is get rid of these two multipliers, okay? They need to be in the denominator. So I'm going to do that just working left to right. I'm going to divide everything by 9, okay? And that will give me x squared plus 16y squared over 9. And then 144 divided by 9 gives me 16. Now, this is going to look kind of weird because I am going to turn around and divide everything by 16. So what that does is that moves the division of 16 over to the x squared. And then the 16 cancels next to y squared, and I'm just left with y squared over 9. And notice how nice this works out. 16 divided by 16 gives me 1. If I didn't get a 1 on the other side, I would have to do some more math because that's standard form. So this is going, x squared is the major axis, y squared is the minor axis, and I just graphed that at the origin. Okay, B, same idea. I'm going to start by dividing everything by 3. Divide everything by 3, and I get x squared over 3 plus y squared equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so here I don't get a 1, so I have to do that division one more time. And actually, on this one, I'd be better off showing it as a reciprocal. So just a slightly different way to look at this. And it helps me out with the fraction math because I still have a number under x squared. So I get x squared over 9 plus y squared over 3 equals 1. So that means that in standard form, I have x squared over 3 squared plus y squared over the square root of 3 squared equals 1. And the square root of 3 is, you know, somewhere between 1 and 2. If you, and on the quiz, they'll have you pick the graph for that. So just remember, you got to square root it. Okay, that's enough for this video. See you on the next one.